Oh, good day, Yums. Oh, Sir J, oh, alam mo na, di ba? Yes. This is actually the first of a series, a blogging lecture presentation based on our subject, no? That is DIAS, Discipline Ideas in Applied Social Sciences. So from time to time, I'll be posting a lecture video presentations. So para maka-cope up, no? And you have to keep on repeating the lecture presentation para makuha niyo yung mga points based on the content. Okay? So right now we are going to discuss about, actually this is the second topic. No? The first we had is the concept of counseling. Now, proceeding with the counseling 101, using counseling skills. Well, I hope you are done with your homework, the assigned counseling process with the other section. That will be on Friday, no? The due is on Friday. So for now, we will be doing the lecture presentation based on the topic. Are you ready? Okay, let's have first the target. No? Tingnan natin kung ano yung ma-achieve natin dito sa ating lecture presentation. Number one, we are going to understand, no, the counseling and the meaning and the objectives of counseling. Actually, we have done this before in our previous lesson, concept of counseling. Number two, we're going to classify the different formats of counseling through which session takes place. Ano yung basis kung bakit natin matatawag ito? Number three is demonstrating the different skills in counseling. So this will be done in your counseling session with the other section. You have to demonstrate the different skills. Well, if you're done with your counseling, nagawa mo na itong number 3 targets natin. Okay? Next, let's have a warm up, no, or a review. No? Actually, taken na itong mga quizzes na to, pero yung mga quiz questions na to, pero let's review about the items. No? You are going to read and understand the following review questions. Select the letter of the correct answer. No need to write, no? You just say it or maybe write it in the scratch paper, the answer for the review. Mali mo, talungin ulit ito sa susunod. Okay, number 1. A counselor is a professionally trained expert who help people overcome their issues. After a systematic chain of sessions, everybody can be a counselor as long as they can give correct solutions to the problem. Is it true? False? Or it depends? Yes. Everybody can be a counselor? No. A counselor is a professional trained um, practitioners, no, na talagang sila yung nagbibigay ng counseling. You're just students, I am a teacher, but from time to time I give counseling, no, in an informal way. But when we speak of formal counseling, that will be the counselor, maybe a psychologist, a psychiatrist. Okay, so not everybody can be a counselor. Basically, there must be a skills bago ka magkaroon ng session ng counseling. Dapat tinuturo mo na yan. Ano? So the answer is false. Okay? Proceeding. The only role of the counselor is to give you advice in reference to your problem. You are done with this. The only role of the counselor is to give advice. What's the answer? Yeah, false. Diba? Actually, the primary role of a counselor is to assist clients in reaching their optimal level of psychosocial functionings through resolving negative patterns, prevention, rehabilitation, improving quality of life. It's not just giving recommendation or suggestions. Tumutulong din ito sa pag-angat ng kahusayan, no? Pangkaisipan ng isang counselee, okay? Or in an, or a certain client. Umangat yung buhay, mabago yung perspective, umaalalay o gumagabay dun sa kanyang gawi. Okay? Hindi lang siya nagbibigay o nagre-recommend ng solutions. Next, the recommendation will be given by the counselor. And it is up to the counselee if recommendation will be put in action. What's the answer? Yes, true. It doesn't mean that a counselor gave you a recommendation or suggestion and you have to absolutely follow those recommendations. It is not, no? It is up to the counselee if he wants the recommendation to be taken into actions. Okay? So the statement is true. Next, so I've told you about informal counseling. Number 4 question, informal counseling is done by, what's the answer? Yes, no, friend. Informal yan. Teacher can be, give an advice, pero that is more on academic advice. If there's something, we talk about personal things, or a certified counselor, a lawyer can give you a legal advice or legal counsel. But we're talking about the guidance counseling that we are studying with our subject, counseling. So the informal can be a friend. As simple as, oh, kaya mo yan, tol. See? Oh, ganyan din nangyari sa akin. Oh. Okay? Number 5. The first step in the process of counseling must focus on this. We're done with this, di ba? The first step is you have to build a rapport, no? Or you have to build a relationship with your interviewee. Kaibiganin mo muna sa palagayan ng loob. Okay, bago, para walang hassle dun sa mga questions na ibabato mo or questions that you'll be going to ask about the problems. Kasi not telling you the problems right away is it's hard to to fulfill. So palagay mo lang kaibiganin mo muna, not to the extent na talagang magiging close kayo sa isa't isa. Palagayan ng loob. Build a foundation of relationship. Okay? That's the first. Kinukuha mo pa lang siya, kinakausap mo pa lang siya. Siyempre, kailangan adorable ka sa kanya. Kailangan well, if it is easy for choosing your friend as your counseling, mas madali na yan. But the thing here is, the first thing to be accomplished in doing the counseling, you have to build a relationship. Okay, let's proceed now to the lesson. This is another form of review because we discussed about the definition of the counseling. Or a counselor is a professionally trained expert. So, tao ito, no? Counselor, no? Who helps people overcome their issues after a systematic chain of sessions. So, ang counseling pala, hindi one time. Okay? Mayroon pala siyang chain sessions. And the type of counseling vary depending on the needs of the clients. May iba-ibang problema, may mga iba-ibang situations kung bakit ka nagka-counsel sa kanya or the idea of talking to them that that's actually varies on or it depends on the needs of the clients. So counseling is a talking therapy. You have to talk about it. It is very important na not just talking in one way but actually in two way. That's the form of communications, no? May sumasagot, may nagre-response, may nagtatanong. That is a communications. So a talking conversation or a talk or a conversations that allows people to discuss their problems with trained professionals. Well, as I speak, we're doing the counseling and we are not a professional. We are doing the counseling because what we practice the skills that we learn from talking, no? Conversing to a person regarding their problem and issues. Sa matter of fact, ano, kahit hindi tayo nagka-counseling, nakasama mo lang sa pagkain yung kain kayo ng friends mo, nag-confide ng problem o binigyan mo na ng ano, that is actually in a form of counseling. Is it informal, but nagbigay ka ng resolution or suggestions or recommendation to your friend because he confided to you a particular problem, so that is already a counseling. But in general, it is the process where you talk about your issues in detail, either intending to overcome the same or to explore your thoughts comprehensively. Usap lang kayo talking about issues and concerns. Though you're not giving suggestion, recommendations, but listening is enough, no? Talking about the things. Nagre-reflect ka sa kanyang problem, binibigyan mo siya ng mga terms, binibigyan mo siya ng mga resolutions in a way. Counseling na. And next, here are the different formats through which the counseling sessions can take place. Number one, in person. The word is in person is highly encouraged, encourage siya. No? Not to use the face-to-face. It may set a different moods or a situational kapag sinabi mo face-to-face. No? Although you are facing with each other. No? Pero the term we use is in person. It is a face-to-face counseling sessions that take place in the counselor's chamber where you meet them in person after scheduling an appointment to discuss your problems. Walang ambush, ha? Walang ambush na counseling. Ha? You make an appointment. Oh, kailan tayo pwede? Oh, kailan tayo mag-usap? And it is one of the most popular counseling formats. In person. Okay? Yeah, na-practice na natin ito, no? With your classmates. Now you are doing with the others, with the learners from the other section. Group counseling, this is actually the next thing, no, that we are doing for your performance task. Group counseling. Professionals provide group counseling sessions where you can join to address the issues. Joining such a group will help you find people with similar problems and you will be able to develop a strong network of support as well. Are you ready with this group counseling? Actually, hindi yung classmate ito, no? This is random people. Yeah, lalabas na tayo dun sa school and we will be doing the group counseling. What's the point according to the context of the definition? You might find a person with the same problem with yours, no? At mag-usap kayo, malay mo kayo mismo makagawa ng resolution or having a foundation of giving out answers to your problem because you have the same situations or issues. Di ba? Kaya you have to choose the random people. Malay mo, bigo din sa pag-ibig. Ha? And other things. Okay, group counseling. Next is the telephonic. Telephone. Na problema ka, hindi mo makausap. Sometimes, telephonic sessions, ano ka biglaan, no? Tinawagan ka lang ng friend mo. Oh, Bessie, ganitong problema ko. And you have the capacity, no? To give resolutions or recommendations to the problems that your friend, no? Talking about, no? Through telephones, through mobile phones. So, pwede siya, no? So, it is a great alternative, no? To in-person counseling sessions that can be scheduled from the comfort of your home. And in a way, pwede rin siyang in an instant, tawagan ko si Bessie, may problema kami. So this is actually a flexible process. You can discuss the problems with the counselor in a secure environment from your room. Kwarto, sa ano, kung saan mga lugar, that you can talk about it. Okay? It can be scheduled, appointment, or in an instant, telephonic sessions. Next, the online. Pwede siya actually, pwede siya sa group counseling in a format of internet connectivities. Nagkaroon ng online counseling, ano siya, no? Mula nung nagkaroon tayo ng idea about Skype, Google Meet. Ano pa ba yun? Zoom, ayan. Lalo na nagkaroon ng pandemic, no? Nauso yung online counseling, online talking, as well online class, no? Now, if you wish not to meet your counselor in person and protect your anonymity, you have the options to email the counselor, or you have the options to get in touch with your counselor through connectivities. Okay? And in this process, you have the scope to think well and decide which of the problems you want to discuss with him. Basically, you are ready with your problems as you talk, no? As you are about to talk to your counselor. Kaya mo nga siya tinawagan and na-build up mo na yung issues or problems in your. Now, the online counseling trend is becoming much more popular these days, which is very accessible, very quick, very convenient, no? Hindi na kayo pupunta sa isang restaurant o kaya saan just to talk about it. And just at the comfort of your home, in a convenient way, you can talk online. Okay? Let's review what are the formats. Online, telephonic, group, in person. Tandaan niya, napakatulong yun, ha? Next the counseling process. So may ano siya, may process siya. It's not just right away, what's your problem? Uy, mukha kang may problema. Not just the no, the way how we talk to in a form or in a process of counseling. No? Siguro sa barkada mo, tambay yan, pwede. But when you are doing counseling, there is a process. Okay, there is a step by step. So when a person seeks counseling like the mental issues, the emotional problems or the family problems, it must be, in a convenient way, not basically in a formal session, but it can be informal pero in a serious manner. Same thing, if you're putting it in a serious manner, there must be a systematic or a process involved. Sir, yung kaibigan namin, lang agad. That's a different. So in the counseling process, the process is involved is systematic evaluation that includes a detailed process. For example, yes, it is a step-by-step approach, and let's have a look at the 5 crucial stages of counseling process. Number 1, as I have told you have to build a warm relationship. Palagayan na lang ng loob, no? That is the first thing you have to do to make yourself comfortable around him. Palagayan ng loob, no? Because you're actually asking about the personal problem, no, of a person. Hindi magbibigay yan kapag hindi palagay ang loob mo. That's why your classmates never speak on their problems, the personal problems at home, love. Kasi friendship muna. Not totally a friendship to be close as is, no? You have to build a rapport, a relationship between the client or a counselee and the counselor. Kailangan alam niya na ikaw ay magka-counseling, no? Sabi ko kanina, walang ambush. Uy, pwede ka? Walang ganon, ha? Now, he focuses on developing a warm relation and mutual trust. First, to make sure you do not hesitate while speaking about the problems you are facing. Sino ba ito? Bakit nagtatanong? Palagayin mo ng loob. Okay? Bigyan mo lang ng soft drinks. Okay na yun. Next, analysis, no? The process of analysis. Now comes the second part, which is assessment. I-assess mo yung kanyang mga problems na ibinigay. And in this stage, the professional encourages you to speak in detail about your problem to grab the grasp, to grab the roots of the problem. Saan ba nagsimula yan? Saan ba? You don't, kaya pala, o ganun. Di ba? Kailangan you have to get more on the facts at saka confirmation, saka you have to ask something about it in full details. Sometimes hindi magbibigay ng full details yan. Ano? May tinatago yan, pero you put an analysis on it. He observes every minute detail from how you are speaking to reactions to certain questions that might come from his end. On assess the problem and the goal is fixed. Meaning, when you analyze problems, you have to put yourself to be knowledgeable of the details and the full details of the problem. Okay? And giving resolutions or recommending a resolutions or an answer to the questions, don't be judgmental. Ikaw kasi, pabaya ka eh. Not that way. Ano? So the analysis, bago ka mag-analyze mga problems, there must be a complete, no? Or maybe a full details of the problems. On that note, that's enough to give an advice or on a surface level, or maybe enough to understand what are you going to give resolutions or answers. Okay? Kaya nga we speak on the surface, no? The surface advice isinulat natin. No? Okay? Other terms, setting the goal. After a thorough evaluation of the problem, now comes the significant section of goal setting. Ano yung gusto mo mangyari doon? Na-assess mo na, may problema ng pamilya to. Ano yung goal mo? Gusto mo bang humiwalay? Are you going to recommend, sige, layas ka na muna. Yan ang goal. No? You have to considering the issues you are facing, the counselor sets that can be either you overcoming, no, the problem or reconcile with it. Not on the way that you put the counseling on the negative note, no? Yaman na yan. Ganun talaga ugali na. No. Set a goal. Are you going to overcome it or you're going to reconcile with the problem? Okay? Always positive note tayo. Next, the plan of action. The counselor plans an action for you to practice to see the results. Once you go through the plan for the desired tenure, he assesses your improvement. Ano yung gagawin? Ano yung mga intervention ng gagawin? Sabi mo, sister, ganito na lang ang gawin natin. Tingnan mo na, obserbahan muna natin. Tapos tingnan natin if the action or the issues actually persisting, yan ang mga plan of action. Okay? Though you're giving advice, pero you have give the counseling options. May mga pagpipilian naman, no? And yung mga pagpipiliin niya ay favorable, no? Para sa kanyang next action or next move. Okay? And if things seems normal, you are the final stage. If not, he might design something different. So you're giving the counseling several options para pagpilian niya. And options are actually reflective at saka based on the context. Okay? overcoming the problem. Yung sinasabi ko na, as I mentioned in the previous point, after you follow the plan of action, the consequent results are taken into consideration. If things seems to go in the right direction, and you start feeling relaxed, yes, you have achieved your goal. And you felt overcoming the problem. Okay? So if you're doing the counseling, not just throwing some questions, but as I've told you, it is systematic. And to involve this systematic way of counseling, you have your skills. So being a professional counselor or doing the counseling requires some core skills, no? To be able to handle client queries and drive the best result from them. Okay? So the vital skills that a professional counselor must have are as follows. Number one, must be effective listener. Makinig. A counselor must be a patient listener. Okay? Who not only listens to the client queries, but can handle them intricately. Naiintindihan mo siya. Without hearing the issues minutely, it is impossible for a counselor to get ahead with the next counseling steps. Kailangan mapakinggan mo lahat yung mga bagay-bagay. It seems that you have heard lacking in details, you ask it. Ano nangyari? O paano niya na ano? Okay? At malalaman niya that you are actually listening very effectively. And good listening skills will give full attention to the client and their details. So, di ba by full attention? You are attending. Talagang engross ka dun sa sinasabi niya. And you are ready to throw questions and you ready to throw reflections out of his problems being stated or the issues. Not just listening, very attentive ka. Yan ang tinatawag na attending. Next, a good communicator. A counselor is someone who listens to his clients. Okay? Pero listening is not at all, no? After you listening, you analyze the problems. And of course, develop a plan of action to achieve a target. I think this is the best skill that a counselor must have. No? He or she must be a communicator, no? A good communicator who listens, who analyze, and giving you a plan of actions or recommendations or suggestions. And that is a good communicator. Now, if you listen very carefully, you don't stop, and then you have to talk. Okay? That's why this is a good skills that you must have if you're doing a counseling. No? You must be a good communicator. Kasi nagsasalita naman, hindi yun, no? Kailangan yung pagsasalita mo ay mabisa, no? In a way na hindi mo naman pwede siyang, hindi, it doesn't mean that you are convincing or you are enough to full of a suggestions and to be followed by your counseling. Pero nalatag mo sa pamamagitan ng pagsasalita mo yun based on the system. Okay? Sir, I'm not a good communicator. That's why we practice. Di ba? Inunti-unti muna natin. We started with your classmates, with your, ano ba tawag dito? Schoolmates, and now we are going outside. Okay? A good communicator. Next, it is indeed, no? Critical to be a very good communicator to have the person feel comfortable around him and make sure the client is not hesitating while speaking in front of him about his problems. Nararamdaman niya yun eh, parang hindi ka eloquent. Eh? Nararatel ka rin. Mas nararatel ka pa ikaw nga nagtatanong ng problem. Okay? And developing a good relationship is very important. Of course, the analysis, no? A successful counselor is someone who is not only a good listener, but a good analyzer too, who uses his skills and expertise to reach the root of the problem and analyze it. You know what? Without analysis, the entire process is in vain as no goals can be set and the client will not be able to undergo any plan of action. So you must be a good analysis, and to analyze it, you must be a good listener and a good communicator. On the other hand, counselors need to be particularly able to listen effectively, not just listening. Narinig kita. Pero you have to listen effectively. What do you mean by that, sir? As you listen, you're about to give a question. Nakikinig to. Sa bawat detalye ng mga sinasabi. Na-analyze niya kasi nakinig siya ng mabuti. And to listen very effectively, you have to give your full attention to the client. Hindi nagte-text ka, sandali lang may okay? They need to be aware of body language. Kailangan alam mo rin siya kung naboboring siya sa'yo o nagme-make face siya sa mga binibigay mong recommendations. Carefully look at those body language and the non-verbal communications. Okay? Sir, what will I do if he's negatively actually perceiving my suggestions and doing body languages and non-verbal communications? Ano gagawin mo? You talk it again. And you make another options. Siguro hindi niya nagustuhan yun. Actually, the effective way of talking into a counseling is good communicator nga, di ba? And you must be talking a lot of options. Hindi mo lang ibibigay yung sagot or resolutions in one pace. Ang dami pa. Halimbawa, mag-aral ka problema sa klase o aral na mabuti. Ano pa? You give more out of the problems na sinasabi niya. Yun lang ba mag-aral na mabuti? Ano pa? Magising ka na maaga, malam nalilate ka na ano. Okay? So those are the by listening effectively, you can give something about what's in it. No? Not only recommending a suggestions or a recommendations per se, but a lot of also options na pwede niyang piliin at pwede niyang gawin. Okay? But be careful on not be careful, but you have to be very observant on the body language of the interviewee or the counselee and the nonverbal communications. Okay? Clients will often communicate far more non-verbally than verbally. Okay? Nalungkot yung mukha, yung sa kanyang mga body language na ibig sabihin, napakasad talaga ng problem niya. Okay? And maybe the counselor is about to cry. Ibig sabihin niyan, the problem stated are very serious, no? And very emotional to the talkers. Kasi ikaw tawa ka lang ng tao. You have to put it in appropriate manner and how to converse. And that's the way how you become a good communicator. Not just listening, no? You have to feel it. Okay? What else? Questioning, no? Actually, not only dig deeper on the details, but also you have to ask, is it true? Not to question, or not to question or to contest what the counselor is saying, but you ask for another facts. Ibig sabihin, totoo. Huwag mo sabihin, hindi naman totoo yun. Not that way, no? Ibig sabihin, so ano pa? Hanap pa ng mga ibang ebidensya or a solid facts na talagang the problem is nagpe-persist talaga siya o problemado talaga ng isang tao. And questioning is an important skill for counselor just as it is in coaching. Now, counselors use questioning both to improve their understanding as a form of clarification. Talaga ba? Sinabi ba talaga ng mga parents mo? You are clarifying. And also as an active way to help expose the client's feelings and emotions. You have to, for the term, you ask questions para ma, ma, ma-build natin yung, or ma-establish yung an open communication to a problem. As I've told you before, hindi naman nagbibigay ng ano, ng complete problem yun. May tinatago pa rin yan. Kasi sino ka ba, ano ka lang naman. Pero if you plan the way counseling, no, the attributes, the techniques, may palalabas mo yung problema na yun. Okay? Pero anong may pinakamabisang? Anong gagawin? Relationship. Kailangan meron kayong relationship sa isa't isa. Huwag mo jowain. Ibig sabihin nun, a relationship that, 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 that goes beyond the questions and the answers. Palagayan ng loob, in Tagalog. And they will also use reflections, no, to show that they have heard the client and to validate the client's feelings and moods. Though it is not for you to reflect, but also you made them reflect on the problems. Ano sa tingin mo ang ano sa tingin mo naging problema? Bakit nagkagalit kayo ng boyfriend mo? Ano kaya sa tingin mo? Bakit galit na galit sa yung parent mo? Dahil ba sa behavior? You put a reflection, no, on the table. And you can also reflect, no, doon sa problems na binigay niyo. Okay? Sabi ng counselor number 1, yung pagtanggi ng mga magulang mo sa iyo, kailan mo naramdaman ito? Okay? Ano siya, no? You make him to reflect. Oo nga, no? Ano bang, kailan ba yun? Bakit ba ano? Malay mo, yung pagtanggi kahapon lang pala, hindi naman talaga ano yung, not, not to be serious about the problem, but kahapon ka lang pala ano lang siguro yan, it's a pan of words of your parents. Pero kapag matagal lang yan, tinatanggi ng mga magulang mo sa'yo, kailan mo naramdaman? Make him reflect. Anyway, with the counselor number 1, what do you think is the problem? Talagang you're a good listener or you're a good communicator or be able to analyze the problem. Anong problema dito? Tinatanggi ng mga magulang, eh. Siguro yung identity, no? Gender identity niyo. Okay? Wag na natin palawigin yun. Pero may tinatanggi siya ng magulang niya kasi maaring yun ang naging problem. Ano sabi ng counselor number 2? Ano sa tingin mo ang dahilan kung bakit mababa ang tiwala sa'yo ng mga magulang mo? Hindi ikaw ang sumagot, ha? Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin, ang baba kasi ng tingin sa'yo ng magulang mo kasi sa behavior mo. Okay? In a way, nag-judge ka dun, eh. Hindi pa nga kompleto yung details. Pero you have to make the person reflect out of his or her behavior. Ano bang dahilan? Bakit? Sa pala tiwala sa yung parent mo ng mga magulang. Siguro pa ulit-ulit yung behavior mo. Okay? Don't judge, but you have to make him or her reflect sa kanyang problem. Counselor number 3, sa tingin mo ba hindi nila matatanggap yung pagbubuntis mo ngayon? Sinubukan mo na ba siyang ilapit ito sa kanila? Di ba? Siguro nagkaroon ka ng anxiety na, kung kakapatayin ako ng magulang ko, ayoko umuwi, naglayas. Sige, tuluyan ko na to, mag-live-in na kami ng partner. May din reflect about, matatanggap naman yun. Pero sa tingin mo ba, hindi nila matatanggap yung pagbubuntis mo ngayon? Maybe the case is teenage pregnancy, no? Hindi ready. Okay? Sinubukan mo na bang ilapit ito sa kanila? Sasabihin ng counsel, nga no, ba't hindi ko kinausap si mama? Madali naman kausap yung mga reflections. Okay? it doesn't necessarily na ikaw magre-reflect sa sarili mo. Kundi made him reflect. Actually, the counseling, as I have told you before, is not just giving recommendation or resolutions. Kailangan lang nilang mga kausap. Tas kailangan lang nila ng suporta sa pamamagitan ng pakikipag-usap. Sa dulo nito, sila rin pala nakakasolve ng problema nila. Nilagyan mo lang sila ng mga questionings, probing, reflections. Oo. In a way, mapapagaan, no, yung kanilang problem. Hindi na solve, pero napagaan. Okay? Now, counselors also need to be able to build a certain amount of rapport. No? Ibig sabihin, yun yung palagayan ng loob. Para bang at ease siya na ikaw usapin and to tell you about the problems. But not to the extent that would allow them to become emotionally involved. O, iba na yun, ha? And they also need to be empathetic. What do you mean by empathy? Bakit ano yung empathetic? No? This means that they are aware of their client's feelings and emotions. Empathy goes beyond being sympathetic. Iba yung term, no? Sympathetic, which is basically feeling sorry for someone, no? Nagsisimpatya ka lang. Pero pag binigyan mo ng empathy, the root word of the word means to feel it, nararamdaman mo. Okay? And it's not enough, nararamdaman mo, made him feel that you feel with. Okay? I'll give an example, ha? Ay, ito pa pala. What do you mean by feel with? Means that the counselor understands how the client feels and can therefore ask appropriate questions and have the client to positive conclusions. The nature of empathy is rooted in helping others and particularly in empowering them to help themselves. So this is an essential skills area for counselors. Giving you an example, sana ito na example. Counselor number 1, ito sympathetic lang. Nakikisimpatya lang. Nakikiramay ako sa pagkamatay ng tatay mo. Thank you. Pero pag sinabing empathetic, ito, nakikiramay ako sa pagkawala ng tatay mo. Naging malungkot din ako nung namatay ang tatay ko. Tapos diniretso mo pa. Oo, naging ano nga ako, naging napabayaan ko nga yung ano. Pero naka-recover ako. Made the person feel what you feel with. Kailangan nararamdaman yan. Nararamdaman niya na kaisa ka doon sa ano, no? Kaisa ka doon sa isa sa problema niya. And not just sympathizing it, but you have a compassion, no? Oo, ganyan din ang nangyari sa akin Naging mabigat din sa ano ko Stress ako diyan. Pero kinaya ko, ano. Kinuwento mo yung sarili mo, pero naiisip niya na yon. Nare-reflect na niya, oh, kaya ko naman pala. Okay? You have to be empathetic. No? Kailangan, kailangan maramdaman niyo rin na genuine yung feelings mo. Okay? Para mabigyan lang ako ng grade ni Sir J. Hindi, kailangan mapili yan. You know what? Hindi lang naman kasi in this subject, nagagawin natin yung mga counseling na yan. As you grow older, you'll become professionals. Nagagawa mo yung mga counseling na to through these practices. Okay? Ano sabi naman ng number 3? Alam mo ba na magiging panatag na ang tatay mo sa piling ng Diyos? Magaling, no? Yan yung iniisip ko nung namatay sa sakit ang tatay ko. Yung tatay ko nga, namatay sa sakit at hindi nakayanan, etc. etc. See? Not just creating a story, but a true essence of the story. And the true feeling out of those essence of the stories. Feel with, nararamdaman niya. At the same thing, ikaw rin mismo, nararamdaman mo yung problema niya. And that is empathy. Okay? Wala yan. Dadaan din yan. Pwede, di ba? Pero hindi effective yun. You have to give empathy. Naku, ako nga, nakayanan ko yung ganyan Ako din, binagsak din ako ni Sergi. Pero kausapin mo lang. Mabait yan. Gwapo ba? Empathy. Gets? Next. Actually, according to Rogers, no, 1970s, there are three characteristics or attributes needed for client-therapist relationship. So this is much bigger, huh? This is more on therapy, psychology, and number one is congruence. Congruence is the most important attribute according to Rogers, no? This implies that the therapist is real, uh, totoo dapat, genuine, open, integrated, and authentic. Totoo yung feelings, totoo yung sinasabi, totoo yung pakipag-usap. Ah, di ba? Merong isang estudyante diyan, no. Fill-upan mo to, yung basic profile, parang resume na sinusulatan, hindi gano'n. Siyempre tatanungin mo, you have to build ano nga eh. Mali yun ha. Kilala kita, mali yun. And during their interactions with the client. Anong congruence? Totoo. May feelings talaga, no? Nakikiramay ka talaga, nakikisimpatya ka. May empathy ka. You are very compassionate, no? In receiving those problems. You are open. Ah, di ba? Okay. Yan ba yung problema mo? Naku, kaya mo yan. O, di tapos usapan. Nag-usap pa kayo. Hindi yun ang counseling. Okay? Now, the therapist or the counselor or you doesn't have a facade. Kailangan kung ano yung nakikita niya sa'yo, yun. Okay? Yung mga therapist pa nga eh. Facade lang yun eh. Di ba? Iba pa rin yung talk to a friend or talking to a acquaintance. Yung therapist, pinuntahan mo lang sa office, hindi ka kilala. Okay? But it doesn't mean na you have to talk, you don't go to therapist na. That's a matter of difference in terms of congruence, yung pagiging totoo. O, di ba? Hmm. Sometimes it's better to talk with the person, to a person, that you have the same ano, no? The same faith in life. Pareho kayo ng buhay, pareho kayo naging biktima, pareho kayo naging suffering from this problem or issues, or you the counselor actually survived the struggles and then you're giving out what have you done or ano yung mga ways na to be able to survive or to fight the struggles. Better pa yun, no? Hmm. Congruence, totoo. The therapist doesn't have a facade and that is the therapist's internal and external experiences are one in the same. No? In short, the therapist, the counselor, you, authentic. What's authentic? Totoo, yung feeling, yung words na binibitawan mo. Di ba? Ako nga, hindi nga ako nalilate. Ako nga, hindi nga ako ma-absent. O, sana authentic, di ba? O sana, ako nga, hindi ko nga chinichismis eh. Sana authentic, ha? Ah, ako nga, hindi nga ako nagsusumbong sa teacher. Sana authentic, di ba? Next, unconditional positive regard, no? That is according to Rogers. This refers to the therapist's deep and genuine caring for the client. Yung totoong may care ka, no? The therapist may not approve of some of the client's actions, but the therapist does approve of the client. In short, in unconditional positive regard, the therapist needs an attitude of, I'll accept you as you are. Don't alienate your character or your persona to the person. Nararamdaman mo yung kanyang feelings, nakikita mo yung kanyang ano, at nakikiisa ka, no? Yun, no? And hindi ka lang nakikiisa, but an original feeling of caring, no? May pake ka, no? May pakialam ka dun sa kanyang problem. So, hindi ko kakilala, walang pa. Sa counseling yon. If you're doing the counseling, kailangan may pakialam ka dun sa problem. Gets, ha? Next, accurate empathic understanding o empathy na to, no? Yung sinasabi ko kanina. This refers to the therapist's ability to understand sensitively and accurately the client's experience and feelings in the here and now. Feel with, yun yung term natin. Kailangan maramdaman mo siya. At kailangan maramdaman niya din na nararamdaman mo siya. Okay? May sasabihin pa sana ako sa pakiramdam. And anyway, empathic understanding implies that the therapist will sense the client's feelings as if they were his or her own without becoming lost in those feelings. Magkaisa kayo, kasama ka doon. Na, yung feeling hindi dapat one-sided na, kailangan ano mo rin na, baka ano pa masabi ko. Next, types of counseling. This is an overall generalized types of counseling. Actually, meron pang sinasabi sa counseling na behavioral, cognitive, pababawi natin yung ano ha, yung definition of or the expound of the thing of the topic types of counseling. Number one, mental health counseling. Mental health, pagkaisipan, anxiety, ano yung mga problem dun. Responsible for providing the people with support who are going through any emotional distress like fear of something, takot, anxiety. Ako, madalas ako mag-anxiety, no? Pero carry, no? Depression, sa iba't ibang level, no? Frustration, marami yan. Yan ang mga type of counseling in terms of mental health. There are different causes when people need mental health, no? Counseling that may include extensive. Meron akong kakilala, no? Talagang yung trabaho niya because of namatay yung kanyang brother sa COVID. Iniwan niya yung trabaho niya, talagang ang baba in, in, in his mouth, no? Sir, ang baba talaga ng moral ko ngayon. Talagang wala akong ano. Extensive grief. Yung iba naman galit na galit. Supreme anger issues. Addiction to something. Family issues. Napagdami yan. And eating disorders and so on. After talking to the clients about the problems, mental health counselors try and provide them ways to overcome. Okay? Kasi ibang problema ito. Kailangan mapagaan mo yung mentality nito. No? Huwag mo ibaon. No? Sige, kain pa. Sige, ML ka pa. Sige. Di ba? Pag-aangin yung mentality ng isang merong issues in his mental health. Okay? Alam mo ba sa mga mental health issues? Alam mong gamot? Uusap lang. Tapos, pag nag-uusap kayo, nagtatawanan kayo. In just a gap of talking to and laughing about it, makakagaan na yun. Okay? Sir, you have to serious about it. Yes. Kaya nga, pinapagaang natin eh. Okay? Sir, paano kung yung mga jokes mo ay ano, hindi mo ka na mag-joke, baka hindi lang gumaang yung feeling niyo, baka bumigat pa. That's the point, no? You have to talk, listen, and make them laugh. Di ba? Galit na ako, nagpapatawa pa ako. Yun ang ano dun eh. Pinapagaan ko lang yung not just only the situation, but also myself. Yun ang stress management ko, no? You realize, no? Galit na ako, pero hinahabol ko yung joke about the, di ba? Secret ko yan, ha? Next, after talking to the clients about the problems, mental health counselors try and provide them ways to overcome it. Yun, no? Mental health, no? Ang dami niyang issues na yan. Kala mo wala, pero meron. Ako, anxiety at saka disappointment. Yan ang mental ko dati. As in ngayon, yan ang mga mental issues ko. Pero carry yan. Career counseling, career sa trabaho, sa patutunguhan mong career, professional, or providing aspirants or the client or the counselee with career guidance and showing them the right path towards a bright career according to their areas of interest and skills. No? Sa grade 12, meron ito, no? Yung mga career guidance. Yung grade 12, saan ka pupunta? Saan school? Anong course? Bakit kukunin mo yung course? Ano yung plan mo? Oh, career counseling yan. The career counseling curriculum is designed to guide people in selecting, changing, or leaving a career and can be availed at any stage of life. Career counseling expert assesses your aptitude, yung kagalingan mo, personality, okay? Interest to suggest you the best career option. Next is rehabilitation counseling. The rehabilitation counseling process helps people with disabilities fulfill their goals and lead an independent life with complete participation in the community. Yung mga nagre-rehab, no? They have surrendered themselves in controlled management issues, no? Yung mga nare-rehab. So, part din yan ng counseling kung saan sila pupunta, anong magiging behavior mo na. Yun, rehabilitation counseling. Next, this is a systematic method to help people with emotional, physical, cognitive, and mental disabilities accomplish their life goals and to live a better life pagkatapos ng rehabilitations. Not to going back at the same fold that you have before, adik-adik ulit. Alam ko na yung ano, pero bumalik ka. Okay? The rehabilitation is, yung goal mo is to live a better life than before. The rehabilitation counselors support the concerned people to overcome psychological disabilities. Kasi pag nare-rehab, ano yan, nagiging mababa ang kanilang self-esteem, confidence, and sometimes meron silang pag-iisip na the society will never accept after the rehabilitations. Rehab lang yun, ano? Pero paano yung mga ano, galing sa bilibid prison? Paano mo maiaangat yung kanilang moral na alam nila na hindi tatanggapin sila ng society in a way? Hirap, no? Ginaguide natin yan or ginaguide ng mga counselors yan. Diba? Next, relationship counseling, no? Also known as the couples therapy, no? And those who are affected with their love life. Ang dami nito. People choose to go for relationship counseling for various reasons, including ano yung mga problema sa love life or sa kanilang buhay pag-ibig, the desire to have a stronger relationship with their partner or spouse. Ano pa yung mga issues? Disagreement, unhealthy abuses. Sa family yan, ano? Relational yan. Something hectic that affected their lives. Sometimes yung mga problema. Or different interests, different motivations. Relationship therapists help the couple to overcome the problems they are facing and enter into a long-term commitment. Iwalayan mo na yan. Teka muna. Alamin mo muna yung detalye. Okay? Kasi ang the goal, no, of the relationship counseling is bringing them into to be okay and having a long-term relationship. Pero case to case yun, ha? Kung abusado naman talaga, may mga ganon term. Okay? Kasi hindi ganon eh. For example, talagang hindi maganda yung naging napangasawa, no? Or barely talagang kinaliwa ka. It's not just saying, hiwalay na. There's a lot of, no? There's a lot of effect yan, no, sa psychology ng isang tao. Mm. So, gina-guide siya kung anong gagawin, see, malawak ang counseling na ito, no? Kasi it takes a lot of renewing, believing, no? Dapat maniwala ka na may hope. Parang gano'n lang pinatutungkulan mo doon sa ano. May pag-asa pa. Kahit hiwalayan ka, ang sakit-sakit pero okay? Relationship counseling. Okay? So, understanding those items that I have discussed and be able to answer, no? Wala namang, we have to, I have to ask questions, no, regarding yan. What I have discussed. So, you can write your answers in a paper. This is actually a continuation that what we had last time, 1 to 15. So, I will start at 16, number 16 questions up to 30th. Okay, are you ready? So, you have to give what is being described the following number. Same thing. Read, and understand the questions, and you have to pick a letter um, that corresponds the answer. Ready? Number 16. There are skills that are required as a counselor. Perhaps the most important skill is kasasabi lang, di ba? 17. Through blank, rapport is built, trust forms, and the speaker feels heard and understood by the counselor or listener. Answer: is it active listening, endless talking, giving advices, or empathy? Next, what skill involves having a sense of connection with the help seeker? Anong skill dapat? Is it cognitive empathy, rapport, attending, or congruence? A sense of connection, no, with the help seeker. Next, number 19, what skill involves the counselor not necessarily approving of some of the help seekers' action, but certainly approving them for who they are. May nakalagay dun sa ano, no? I'll accept you, whatever you are. A, B, C, or D. Number 20, which of these are active listening skill? A, restating and paraphrasing. B, listening and attending. C, listening and questioning. D, listening and summarizing. Number 21, reflecting skills include A, B, C, or D. Next, sir, ang bilis naman. This is a recorded, no? A recorded lecture presentation. Hindi, i-post, di ba? Which of the following is not a purpose of reflecting feelings? A, B, C, or D? Proving. You have to prove it. Question means dig deeper than the surface, helps to get the client to talk about thoughts and feelings. Look for more facts. 24, it is a series of direct contacts with the individual is aimed to offer him assistance in changing his attitude and behaviors. Series of direct contact, ibig sabihin nakikipagkita ka in a serious manner. Nakikipag-appointment ka. 25, which is not part of the scope of guidance and counseling. Personal, situational, career, financial. May nagsabi sa akin, sir, yung problema ano naman kulang sa baon. Ang gagawin natin dyan. Next, which types of guidance services is given to students who are having undesirable practices? It has to be provided to keep them in track and lead to a noble lives. Moral, avocational, educational, or social. Undesirable practices, ha? May mga behavior ito na ano, hindi ka aya-aya. 27, it has to be given to students to face the situations boldly and confidently to enable them to adjust to the situation which they cannot change. Is it personal, social, avocational, or moral? 58, which among the ingredients of guidance in counseling service is referred to as a welcome service? Doing the counseling, alin din yung welcome service? Is it the admission service, the orientation service, student information service, or the information service? Training is essential to further develop skills and knowledge to meet different clients. Is it true? False? It depends. And the last question, the 30th, you should write key elements of session to review. Is it true or false? Okay, you have it as a that is the lecture presentation, our first lecture presentation. And this is actually to be posted. Sabihin ko sa inyo kung saan to makikita or saan ito makakopy. This is not in the Google Classroom. This is in my social media in a series of lecture presentations. So you have to get the link to be able to have this a copy of the lecture presentation. Okay? So the questions and confirmation, clarifications, additions, recommendations about the lessons will be taken into a in-person, no? Tanong lang sa akin, tapos the checking of the answers from 16 to 30th is to be checked manually, no? Ipapasa yung paper sa akin. Okay? So, if you don't have 1 to 15, wala eh. Bawi sa 16 to 30. So, the quiz that we made is 30 items. Okay? And the questions will be entertained in person. Thank you for listening, and you have to be, what's this? You'll be notified if there's another lecture presentation to be posted through links. Thank you for listening, and thank you. Okay. Yun lang.